the kinds of things that one might do in another profession. And similarly, with the 10 hours of continuing education, I think it stands to reason that it too should focus at least with some connection to tax return preparation and not things that are unrelated to it. Now, what does that mean in practice? It's probably a little bit like the Supreme Court's definition of pornography, which is we'll know it when we see it. And in fact, that's the whole plan. We expect to see it, so we'll know what's been approved and what's not. We're not trying to tighten this down so much that everything is absolutely focused on a line on the return. By the same token, what we don't want is folks attending seminars on offshore accounting practices that have really nothing to do with return preparation, and then calling that CE that does definitely count. We'll need to look at what the substance of the course is and make sure that it does roughly align with what we're looking for.
A couple of folks are asking about CTEC licensure.
Asking what about?
They still need whether that counts.
So I believe CTEC is California's tax regulation regime, is it not? Yes. The answer to that is no. Let me just repeat the question. Does CTEC licensure sort of count instead of the requirements we're imposing here? And the answer is no. There are a number of states, actually not that many, believe it or not, that have return prepare requirements of various sorts. California is one. Oregon has probably the most sophisticated and the longest lasting. And there are other states that are sort of starting up. And while we're cognizant of the sort of additional layer of requirements that we may be imposing, what we're suggesting, and we are working with the states, what we're suggesting is that they retool their oversight so that it focuses on state-specific information and accept the IRS requirements to the extent that it provides the federal piece of it, so that you have sort of federal and state, and the state would vary obviously by state. I know that may be a little cumbersome for some people. I know that means additional fees. Here's the problem. I have met with a variety of groups, and in fact with folks from Oregon and California who've made very compelling cases that there are regimes in place already. And I've probably met with 8 or 10 of them. And I'm sure there are more folks out there who could make compelling cases for special treatment in this area or that. And maybe at some point in the future we may be able to do that. But what I'm trying to implement right now is a national set of consistent minimal standards. And to do that, creating one-offs is, while maybe desirable at some level, it is administratively impossible for me to handle. And so for the time being, we're going to focus on federal requirements and ask states and other organizations to help work with us to conform theirs to ours. May not make folks happy, but that is what we're trying to do. And I think if you thought about it, you can understand why that might be the case. So I know we have a couple more minutes. Are there any topics, Paris Hilton, anything else people want to talk about before we move on?
And apologies if you've already addressed this, but folks are asking whether they're going to get written notice about refreshing, or whether it's up to them to maintain their own schedule.
So the question is, will people get written notice that they need to renew or refresh their P10s? So for folks who have P10s now, those who have existing P10s, they will get written notice saying you still need to go back in and refresh or Febreze your P10. A year from now, we plan to communicate with return preparers to remind them. We just don't know how. My ideal would be to send emails saying, remember you need to refresh your P10. We are struggling with privacy issues that come with the IRS sending emails to individuals. As you probably know, in this new world of identity theft and all of the risks that go with it, there are a lot of stringent standards about how you can communicate with people, what you do, and we spend a lot of time saying publicly the IRS does not send unsolicited emails to individuals. So we're going to have to work through those issues. I was on 3 conference calls this morning about that. So stay tuned, but we will communicate with you both as we head into this requirement process as well as what we'll have in subsequent years. So I think there's time for one more question.
Yeah, one more. Is there more clarification on what substantially all means?
So folks want clarification about what substantially all means. There are examples in the proposed regulations. We may add some more. But here's what I would say to you. You need to exercise your judgment. If you were in my shoes at the end of the day, and you walked into an office and you were looking at returns, who would be the person you'd want to talk to about that return? Would it be only the person who signed it? Or if you knew for sure who had really done most of the work, who would that person be? And who matters most? And I wish I could be more specific about it, but think about it from that perspective. Use your judgment. You are trained, seasoned professionals. You'll need to exercise judgment and be reasonable, because we are going to try and be reasonable about it as well. And we recognize that it's not a bright line test. And we'll probably put out some more guidance about it going forward.
Did you announce where they could go if there's questions we didn't get to that may be on a frequently asked questions list somewhere?
So I was just asked whether there was a place where one could obtain more information. I say this every time I'm on camera, which is go to irs.gov. We have a whole bunch of frequently asked questions. We'll be putting out more. We'll also be communicating directly through national and local organizations, providing materials and information and updates. When you apply for and obtain your PTIN, you'll be providing us with contact information as well. Ultimately, we hope to be able to email you directly. More likely, it will involve the creation of a secure mailbox, and the only email you get from us will be something that says, hey, log in to your secure mailbox so you can get the information that we want to give you. So with that, let me stop. Thank you all for your time. Those are great questions. I hope it helped clear some things up. I hope you also understand that some of this is in progress and we're still trying to develop it. We do look for your input, and there will be an evolution of this as it moves forward. We've already moved from some of the items that we had in the report to our current proposals, and we'll continue to evolve so that we can make this work. So thanks for your time and have a great day.